Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm going to continue with this inline mapping feature with casting, or not casting, but using exact type matching or implicit type matching, which is what I just was looking up. It's this whole thing with the compilations, classify common conversion, which is I think what we want. So this I-type symbol extensions I'm actually going to get rid of because we don't need it. That's actually going to cause an error in our code, which is exactly what we want because we don't want to do this here. We want to say if it's exact, it will be exact. If it's not, we want to say compilation classify common conversion where the source properties type, and then we want to say type is, well, classify common conversion is going to be a common conversion. You don't know what that is? You should. Operations. What? It's a struct. Oh, okay. And it'll be, okay, I was completely misunderstanding. I thought for some reason it was is implicit. There. And Bob's your uncle. And Alice is your aunt. Or the other way around. Or both or neither. I don't know. It's early. Early in the morning. Okay. So I think this gives us exactly what we want, which is if it's exact, they have to be exact types. If it's like a derives from or whatever, then it's that. Now that actually makes me wonder, should we be explicit with what we're saying here? Matching property type kind, subtype. Instead of it saying subtype, what we would say here is implicit, because it's basically what we're trying to do here. I kind of like that and saying it's implicit here. Let's see what would happen if we say implicit. And we wait for that and we're done. Okay, it's an implicit match. Okay, I think I'll go with that. I still don't like the matching thing there, but that's good. So in this case, all we're doing is saying if you said it was exact, which is what you have to opt into now, it'll be this, but nothing should break in that the code that we currently exist will still match on these things. Okay, so what I want to do here is unfortunately shut down and start up again, but that's what we're going to do to see, does any of my previous code break? And it shouldn't. It's loading up all the things now. We're just going to go right into running tests because that's what we want to do. As soon as it figures out all of the things, because I don't want to get into the key combination is bound to something that we will absolutely not let you do anything that you want to do. Do I sound bitter? No, not at all. By the way, my wife and I saw Green Knight last night and really, really enjoyed it. It was getting a little bit long at the end. And I'm not going to give anything away, but as he's getting near the end of his quest, it was starting to just feel like it was getting a little bit long, but you know, some very amazing cinematography. Some of it wasn't disturbing, it was just unsettling, and I'll leave it at that. Some of it was just very, very well acted, very well shot. I was really impressed with the movie overall. Really enjoyed it. Okay, so let's see if we can run all the tests with all the things. And hopefully we can, because again, nothing should break. What we need to do then is write a test to say, hey, if you're saying, you know, exact match or this, when they are or are not, what should happen? I think those are the 4 cases we want to have. And I don't want to get into, is it an interface? Is it, you know, that's what classify common conversion is supposed to do for us. So we don't want to care about, you know, how it's doing it in the sense of all the cases. It should be handling all the cases, and we're not testing that. We're just testing it should do this in the cases we think it should do it. Okay. If that made any sense. So, oh yeah, and I got to get rid of this X here thing because that was really stupid. So it's not reporting down at the bottom here that it actually like ran tests. I can't, did it? Tests. No tests found. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Not that this is going to help. I want to have some leeway with this being preview, but there's another part of me that goes, this is stuff that's been around for years. This should just work. And the fact that it's not working is very unsettling to me, you know. Well, it succeeded. And, well, you're spinning. So now you're saying stop. And now you're running tests. Good. It all worked. Okay, that's good. So let's commit or stash. And because you don't know how to tab, we got to do that ourselves. Added class to do type checking or implicit conversion. And jeez, it's a Family Guy Peter. I can't do that. I can't even remotely get close to doing that. Okay, so we've got that in place now. So I think we've got everything in place, but now we need to write tests to say what happens if. And what is the right place to do this in? Well, like this is just making sure that yeah, I've still not completely got my head around like what I want to do, where, when, and how, and why. Generate when destination, generate. I mean, I could do this here. Generate with constructor params. So I add this here as a comment, and I meant to actually do this at some point. And then I didn't, and then in a previous episode I added them in. So what we want to have here is say, like, what are the cases? Generate when source property type is implicit conversion and we're going to get namey here, wordy here is exact. Actually, what we could do is say it should match what we pass in as a type case. Okay. Because all these have been generate with specified there. Okay. That I like. Okay, so I say public static void generate. Now I want string code here. And then I want matching property type kind specified as well. You should know what that is. Yeah, you do. Okay. So what I want is a case where, sorry, I'm thinking about how I want to parameterize this so that I know that this is working the way I expect it to. And I'm not really sure if I can parameterize this. Well, can, yes. Is it feasible to do it that way? I'm not sure. Especially with the fact that I want to parameterize it by giving it a chunk of code and then asserting certain things like, do I want to assert? Well, I would want to assert expected diagnostic length. So I think I could say int expected diagnostic length. Okay. And in the case where you don't have any diagnostics, what you would expect to see is, we don't want to see diagnostics. Where do I? There. We want to see the output actually like contain code. And then we want to see like int expected property mapping. So I guess it's not int, it's string. Okay. So in the case where you don't get anything back, like if I come back up here, I think output is just a string. In the case where you get, yeah, you get string empty where you do, okay. Okay. So what I think I could do here is, now I got to look up NUnit because I always forget. NUnit parameterization. Yes, no from the docs. Okay, I appreciate that somebody else wrote their own thing, but test case source. Okay, I didn't realize you could actually pass back to the test. Source type, source name. I don't like it that you have to give back a IEnumerator and then yield new object. It just doesn't feel like, it'd be nice if there was a way to say, like, make it type safe. It just doesn't feel very type safe by doing it this way. But that's okay. We were adding code down here. And we could say, what was this called? Or you could just say it's an array of things. Well, we have to do this. I just wish I could do this in a little bit cleaner fashion, so to speak. It's morning and I'm dreading writing a whole bunch of inline code as strings, because that's not what I want to do. Or does it make sense to... No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. So here you can do like static IEnumerable as string. I wish it was a little bit IEnumerable. Yeah, just go gather all your suggestions and take 20 minutes to do it. Fine. Thank you. Property conversion cases. Okay. So now we're going to say yield. Oh, God. This is... I don't know why I'm struggling with this. It's not struggling with... It's the way the code's going to look, because you have this big honking piece of code in there, and it's not really what I want. But if I do this as separate functions, then... I don't know. There's no... I guess this is fine. As implicit and types are exact. There. Okay. So let's go back up here to one that we know works the way we're expecting it to. Okay. Grab this. Come down here. It makes these test classes a little bit longer, but that's okay. We don't care assembly source to destination. Except what we want to say here is, what is the actual syntax? I forget. Matching property type kind is matching property type kind exact. So these are exact. So we should have no diagnostics. We've already checked this. We just want to make sure that we get that. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I'm saying implicit. Okay, that should work. And then we can also do this as exact because and types are exact. This should also work. Okay. Now, we want to have the other two cases where Well, let's say types are, yes. And, so now we want up here is type kind exact implicit. So this is exact, and now types are implicit. So the property kind is exact, but now we can have here and say like public class A, public class B, which derives from A. The destination is an A. This is a B. Yes, because B can be assigned to A. A cannot be assigned to B. Right? Is it that early in the morning that I can't figure this out? A is an animal. B is a bird. So bird is a type of animal. Animal is not a type of bird. Yay, object-oriented programming. Now these are not exact. So we should actually get 1. And this should be equal to okay. And the diagnostic that should show up is one that's okay. So now in this case, types are implicit. Okay. So actually, we could have copied that whole code. And then we say here, that, and now we should have the actual assignment coming through. Yes, and the case is always to do implicit. If you don't specify it, it is implicit. Yes, okay, we're just being explicit here. And then we could have a third set of cases where we're saying that they don't equal at all. And you're saying what they should be, exact or implicit, and it doesn't matter. But let's go with this for now. What breaks? Well, that's nice and surprising this morning. All of them pass. So they do exactly what I expect them to do, which, you know, we get a diagnostic here. And what do we get when we get no? This always works except in the case here. Okay, that was bizarre. Why did you not? I said run this. Well, you know, it would help. I was gonna, okay, wow. I was gonna go in and say, oh yeah, Jason, rock on. Everything's good. Everything is awesome. But you know, what you really need to do is assign these to be tests. Dear Lord. That's embarrassing. There. It's like you read all this code. It's like, well, if they're not tests, and you know, they're not going to run as tests. Now we might get errors. Now all my hopes and dreams might be shattered. We'll see. Yeah, 1 doesn't work. What's the problem? Oh, we get 3 failures. Well, you know, if you got to fail, you got to fail hard, right? Come on, go to debug. Why? Well, at least it's failing. I mean, that's good. I just was like not expecting 3. So we got diagnostics. Length is 3. A match for ID. Yeah, we basically, so there's, we want IM2, right? Yes. So we want to say in this case is greater than 0. And we want to say that the diagnostics, this is where I keep forgetting how NUnit does stuff. Because we can't say it's the 0th one. We don't know that. Or we can't assume it's always going to be the 0th one. Contains. Yeah, but we don't. What we could say here is say diagnostics.any ID is equal to that ID is true. a little klutzy, but this way we're just saying, did you get what I expect to get? Which made no sense. There we go. Now if we run all the... I should just send this to Microsoft, these videos, and say, look, that's what happens, is you get this, and it still happens. And it's kind of like when I want to tell my internet provider, Comcast, which I've been getting like anywhere from 1 to 5 or 6 outages a day where my router, well, the modem just dies. It doesn't work. And I got to reboot everything. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. I've done this numerous times. I've had Comcast reset mine on my end. I made sure that my firmware is updated on my router. It just goes kaplooey. I don't know why. And it's been very, for the most part, it's been very stable. Occasionally I would get like an outage and, it goes out and then I just reboot and it's fine. But that's like once every 2 or 3 weeks. This has been daily now for the last week and it's starting to really get on my nerves. I'm thinking I'm going to start tracking when it happens, write it down. And if, over the next week, if it keeps doing this, because I might be in a meeting during the, day at work and all of a sudden it just cuts out on me. And I'm like, why? It's very annoying and it shouldn't be that way. Anyway, complaining is over. So I think I have this thing now fixed. Well, I didn't add integration tests, so I guess I should do that. Okay, so let's say git committer stash added unit tests for type comparison. Which, do I really need unit tests if I know this is actually doing what I think it should be doing? No. I don't have to. The integration tests are just there. This is the one or the other. If I can test it here, it's great. And like the map. See, I'm doing this for map generator. I'm not doing it for these technically, and I really should be. But I don't like map to self, map to source. I guess what really makes sense is if it's actually done on the, now that I think about it, that's really where we want to do it. So where did I just add these? Yeah. We want these as generic map tests. We don't want them as, so we want to cut these and then put them in map tests. And then say here, this. And then what are we doing? We are, instead of generate with, we want to have map with. So it should change those, and then we fix that, fix that, fix that, and fix that. And you don't know what this is. Okay, now we're good. Now we're cooking with fire. Because those are tests for the attributes. This is just general mapping conditions that I'm trying to find. And this, this makes more sense. Sometimes I forget how I organize stuff, and this is a better way of doing it. Because it doesn't matter where the attribute came from. It's just, we're actually concerned more about the output itself. So, okay. We are good. One more commit. Moved tests to map test. The right location. And I gotta click that because I didn't put the tab in the right spot. And then I think this is a feature that is now done. So I will do all the branching, merging, closing of issue. But that's good. And then the other one we're going to have to do next is the one where we're generating a way to say, provide me the source. No, provide me the destination. I will not create it myself. And then, and that we only need to generate one. So that's actually interesting if I think about that, because let's close all these out. Where are we? Over here. Is if we say create destination is true, then you're the one providing the destination. Or do we say maybe the right thing to do is just, or do we just generate these things? That's what I'm wondering, is do we say like for all these types, we also create a method that says map to destination, where you provide the destination object yourself, and then we map to the source based on the rules, and we then give you an updated object. That actually, now that I think about it, is not the greatest, because what we're doing this in is I'm glad I'm talking through this right now. That's actually done in a object initialization scope. If you provide me if you provide me the object, then I just say, instead of new destination, I say is equal to but it's already created. So we can't just say object initialization is when you're actually newing up an object, you're allowed to initialize the properties. I don't think you can just say, well, here's my object, unless you allow them to be setters. Which now that they're setters, but are we also allowing setters or initializers? I think setters are initializers, but we have to be really careful here, because we can't say we can't use the object initialization syntax in that case. And then the post customization process is that for every one. Like if you say if I want to create destination one, then you're saying you're giving me one. And then the syntax for me to map has to be slightly different for that case. For the other ones, we always generate based on all the constructors that we already did. That always happens. But we're saying we're going to give you an out where you provide, I keep forgetting this. We're going to give you one option where you give us the create destination. Now, on all of these options where you do the mapping, do you want a post customization process? In other words, do you want us to generate a way for you to give us a delegate or an action to say, we've now done the mapping, here was the source, here was the destination, have at it for all these? I think that's what I want to do. So I'm glad I'm going to have to write those notes down too before I forget. So yeah, anyway, good stuff. Good things to think about. This is the one that I want to do next. And then once this is done, then we can move on to other stuff. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.